If you think that it's only words that convey our communication, the only way to communicate is through words. How many of you think the only way to communicate is through words? No one. That's great. So, so, so it's a great start. Right. So I wanted to tell you about a quote from Peter Drucker. So Peter Drucker is the guru of leadership and management. And what he said was the most important thing in communication is to hear what is not being said. What is not being said? It's quite an interesting statement. So, first thing that we do is active listening. Along with active listening, what we do is notice what is not being said. What do I mean by this? Let me introduce myself to you. Some of you probably know me, some of you don't know me. I am from a place in India called Kerala, and the mother tongue there it's called Malayalam. And strangely enough, today the grammarian has called the palindrome as the word of the day, and Malayalam is a palindrome. If you take Malayalam from beginning to end and end to beginning, it is a palindrome. That's a great coincidence. Anyway, so I'm from Kerala. Mother tongue is Malayalam. I stayed in Hyderabad, which is not. India is a huge country, as you know. So even though they are in south, but it's quite a large distance. And so 20 years back, I would like to bring you on a time machine. 20 years back, September the 2nd, 2000. So I am coming to Ireland for the job in Ericsson. And I was traveling in the flight for the first time, and my father as well. So great experiences. I could actually make a speech about it in another speech. So I came here, and there were very few Indians here. When I was coming here, my main kind of thinking was that even though I'm coming to such a far place, everywhere there are human beings. It's everywhere. People. The language of the universe is love. There is no other language that is needed, and emotions convey what we want to say. So, as Peter Drucker is saying, the most important thing in communication is to hear what is not being said, right? So I came here, and there was one family, Indian family, who was there, and there was another Indian person who was there. And I stayed with that Indian person for a couple of years. What I noticed was a couple of months later, this Indian person, we used to go together to office. Every day we used to go together. And one day, this guy actually went without telling me, right? So we were so close. And suddenly one day, this guy just went and he did not tell me. And this started happening again and again. And then I thought, what is this? What happened to him? Like I did not do anything to him. So why this sudden change? Then he told me that my frequency and your frequency does not match. So he was trying to get away from me, right? So this is what we have to understand. We all vibrate. We are all energy. We are energy in motion. I like this term. Emotion is energy in motion, right? So as human beings, we have emotions. And when we are speaking a particular word, we have to have the emotion along with that word. It's extremely important. Generally, what happens is people would say something, but inside their emotion would be something else. For example, if I ask here, for example, in Ireland, it's quite an interesting thing that I noticed in Ireland. If you ask someone, how are you? They would say, not too bad. Generally, in the countries, people would say, I'm fine, I'm good. But Ireland, the tradition is not too bad. And that's a kind of interesting idiosyncrasy of Ireland. So when you're saying, I'm fine, I'm great, or I could say, I'm great. So I'm saying I am great, but my emotions are not conveying it. So which is right? Are my words right or are my emotions right? This is what we have to understand. And this is taken the first time a person sees someone, the first impression comes in. Like I have gone for many interviews for management position, and I'm being quite vulnerable here that I actually did not succeed. And why I did not succeed? Because, there is, we want something, but if we don't believe 100% in that, we will not get it. Subconscious mind. There is something called subconscious mind. And whatever words we are saying, it has to come from the subconscious mind. It has to come from the heart. It has to have feeling. We have to 100% believe in what I'm saying. And this is what happens. If I want something, but in my subconscious, I'm not 100% ready, I don't believe in it, then I won't get it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to conclude again by saying the most important thing in communication is to hear what is not being said. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Samesh. It's interesting. Very interesting speech. So once again, do we have the time for the speech, please?
Sure. So the time for Samesh's speech was 6 minutes and 22 seconds.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And we will have one final minute silence while everybody talks up what they think about that, particularly the evaluators. And then we'll move into the evaluations straight after that. Thank you.
And that minute is up there, Timothy.
Thank you. Thank you, Linda. So 3 speeches, 3 enjoyable speeches. That means 3 evaluations. So our first speaker, Carmel Turley, speech Deep Roots, and evaluating her is Catherine Wright.